There's a group going around. It's supposedly a hamster group, but one of the admins swears to be not only a professional with hamsters, but a professional with regarding chinchillas. And this is an image I've shared in a group that is an image that was from a woman in one of the local pet groups that was trying to rehome her chinchilla, and the image she's shown that with her chinchilla that she had for a few years, but yet everything in that images that she shown for that video or for those pictures for that group were signs that this woman didn't even do any kind of research for that animal whatsoever, and then had all these things placed in and around. So this image that you can see on screen is one of those images, and one of the admins, I placed that image in, and then I also, modified the image to show red arrows towards everything that shouldn't be in that cage. Now she tried to use her one vet as a reference, only one vet, and she tried to say everything in that picture was fine. That all that plastic in that cage was fine, the shelves and ledges and all that stuff. But she tries to tell me that chinchillas don't normally chew. This group is called Hamster Pipsqueakery or something like that, and this woman is claiming. And of course she had her shills of supporters, with her that were agreeing to everything she was saying. And some of the things that was coming out of her mouth was like, it's like she was reading it off Wikipedia, trying to say that they only live in the desert, in the mountain deserts, and she doesn't understand that. Okay, it's colder in the mountains, especially down where they're from, in that area. There's also a movie made about a plane back in those days, back in the 70s, that crashed, and those people tried to survive in the mountains. And one thing that chinchillas need to have is wood to chew, and not only that, all their shelves should be wood, because I have over 19 chinchillas, and I've domesticated over 70 in the past 4 years. So besides the knowledge from the additional breeders that have experience for over 30 years of experience, and different vets, because I don't just have one vet, I have like over 60 vet references that I've gotten a lot of different information over the years, aside from my other pets that I take care of, and I've domesticated and trained over the years, through dogs and whatnot, for over 20 years. And just to stroke the idea about the plastic anything within the cage, I've done experiment with them. 9 out of 10 chinchillas will chew those, whether it be a food dish or a potty pan, down to nothing for certain chins, because certain chins will and some won't. You might get lucky. Some will just eat the pan, or some will eat the dish. See, I don't associate plastic with food dishes anyway for those types of chins, but more than half of all of them I've ever had, over 70, will eventually chew those plastic pans, and you always have to switch over to metal pans for food dishes and whatnot. So her saying in that image, so you could tell all that stuff was, some of that stuff was brand new, and even that hanging down stuff, which chinchilla shouldn't be used as a toy with the fleece hanging down, because that's something you would have for a guinea pig to play with. But chinchillas, with them chewing all the time, they'll taste everything, and they'll start eating that fleece, which is why you go to any group and they'll tell you, to put down tiles, not only just from the cool on, but to protect the bottom, especially if they want to chew or lift up the fleece liner. And if this people in these animal groups, these small, nobody knows of them animal groups with 2,000 people joined, people giving them ways of giving terrible information to other people, those people that were considering getting with chinchilla in that group, for that hamster group that the lady claimed to be, professional with, that if anything that this person was saying, claiming to be a professional, and if they were in any other groups regarding chinchillas, the people would have a field day with this woman. And it seems to be only all the women in these groups that seem to be not really there with what they're talking about. And of course these admins, they could do no wrong is the way they'll act. They're just, it's like no matter what you talk about, say, or even show them with proof wise of like different vets and stuff like that, it goes in one ear and out the other. So she wants to totally disregard the information through over 60 different breeders, people that have experience over the years, 30 years or more, and different vets from different states that I have for exotic and traditional vets, and then my own experimentation with different things to be sure that, you know, what they will and won't do. And I spend most of my time with my animals, not just a few hours a day. I spend most of my day with mine because I work from home. She wants to use only what her one vet says to her. That's it. Anything else? And the thing about these vets is not all of them are up to date. Different vets will tell you different things. Different exotic vets, if you go to state to state or even country, they'll tell you different things because not all of them are up to date with the same information with different studies that have taken place over the years with different animals. Especially with chinchillas that are constant wood chewers, and they like to chew blocks and stuff like that, in which you could tell from the images like you've seen and that I showed you in the video that there was nothing good for that chinchilla to chew on whatsoever. So what's going to happen is if those people go to rehome that animal, they're going to end up with mallow and a condition in their teeth, or just overgrown teeth in general, where they won't be able to eat it anymore because their teeth hasn't been worn down enough. Because not just hay grinds their teeth down, wood also helps for the front. Hay's for the back, wood is for the front. And of course that admin in that group and different other little small groups I've seen say that it's false. But notice how it's only the small groups, these little groups. So if I were you, I'd avoid any pet group that is small in numbers, and nobody could place like vacation certificate to prove, you know, anything, or have actual other breeders as friends with them that are in the same group. Because if there's no other breeders, actual breeders in the group with them, everything they say is on. And especially with their profiles, these admins' profiles on Facebook don't showcase any of their chinchillas, or showcase other dogs and stuff like that. And these are the same admins that are trying to tell the people that they shouldn't have their dogs around the chinchillas. They shouldn't have, you know, both in the same house. But yet these admins do. They're totally hypocrites. These women in these groups are totally hypocrites. It's mostly women that run all these groups, and it kind of seems that they're just talking out there. And the same type of admins that will try to say that chinchillas could have wheels, and leaving anything by the cage, she said that it would be fine. My chinchillas will grab through the bars, and through the bars like that, out to an inch, and grab anything of plastic or anything outside that cage that's not supposed to be there, on top of the cage, side of the cage, whatever. Even when they're by the window, they'll try to grab those curtains and eat them. She tried to say, oh no, they don't do that. Chinchillas are not interested in that. Chinchillas get bored, they get bored easily. I don't know. So I'd stay away from the hamster squeakery group or whatever it's called, stupid ass name for a group. Because these people are dumb shills, typical people that are set in their own ways, brainless.